I have one bad news for you. You're not able to go out yet, but probably in 5 minutes. Outcome of this conference is not an easy topic. We initiated this conference due to what we saw as a chaotic situation due to doping in international sport and how to handle organized doping, and further to seek alternatives and more effective ways to tackle doping in international sport. We have got the question that, is there a significant improvement in anti-doping during the recent years? Top athletes are still cheating. It's still organized cheating. The current chaotic or doping problem is mainly a human and organizational problem. We have seen an anti-doping manipulation and lip service to clean sport. That was a clear statement during this conference. And that is probably the reason for us to be here. We have heard that it's a lack of integrity and accountability, and I would say in parts of international sport, that we need to focus on protecting the values of sport, from grassroots sport to Olympic sport. Sport is too beautiful to be spoiled, was a statement I heard earlier today. And we need an anti-doping system everyone can trust. We have also heard that athletes need to be involved in the solution, and athletes must be represented. And then I can inform you that World Players Association is in the room with several representatives. They are also a part of the athletes' community, but maybe we should start ask them what their opinion is. An athlete charter is important, we have heard, and needs to be reflected in the code. The overall aim is to avoid corruption, conflict of interest, and ensuring transparency during this process. A majority reform of the governance structure is needed. And what I have heard that International Athletic Federation is an example we should look at. Reality or perceived interference of the bodies working with anti-doping and fighting doping is unacceptable. We must ensure operational independence and no conflict of interest. We have heard that this is of utmost importance because part of the world of sports has relations to a criminalized underground world. We expect much of the athletes, but we should expect more from the sport leaders. We sanction athletes for doping, but rarely support personnel nor sport organizations when they fail their anti-doping responsibilities. That maybe sums up the current situation. You promote your sport and you police your sport. The same people can't take the same role. Difficult with dual roles, we have heard. We also got statements like, WADA is controlled by sport. Sport has an interest in not exposing its partners to make it difficult to promote its activities. We have learned that we need a strong WADA, but we also need a WADA that separates sports and states from its policing functions. Working group of good governance in sport we have huge expectations to that working group, and I think the chair of that working group has been here, Ulrich Haas, and just left us for the day. And probably he has to prove that he is ready to come back. We have a robust and fair system is needed to strengthen people, to strengthen the people who has the will to follow the rules. Today, the sport, or to use Travis's term, the fox is quite satisfied. And the fox pretends to be independent, if I'm going to quote Travis. I think what we need to look at is that testing, investigation, and prosecution needs to be independent of both sports and the states. And I think the honorary IOC member Gerhard Heiberg made a quite good comment when he said that we also need to look at what's going on the government side of anti-doping, and then keeping in mind the situation with Russia. We have heard that it's a lack of full and comprehensive investigation, and that it's a need for more resources to follow up all the whistleblower information and other information which WADA is in possession of, and that it's too few anti-doping organizations who have a proper investigative capacity. We need to protect the whistleblowers, and that is maybe more important than ever. We have a judiciary system that needs an independent process, and we heard that from, I think was the main part of the statement from Sven Mollekleiv in the last debate. We have learned, I would say, about the arbitration, the settlements between two parties, and the uniform application of rules, which is part of the arbitration system. And we have heard some more critical comments to that the judicial branch is controlled and funded by sport and appoint the arbitrators. As part of that, maybe we have to look at the funding of the judicial system and also how it is structured in the future. Need to discuss the anti-doping model in general as part of this, and we have also been touching on the International Testing Agency, which is now called, starting as an independent testing authority, but changed name during the process. And the independence of this body has been questioned. We have to remove people with dual roles in the governance structure of both the testing organizations and the judicial system, like hearing panels, appeal panels, and the Court of Arbitration for Sport to ensure good governance. We have also heard that it's forces trying to weaken the anti-doping agencies, and we must follow this closely. And I think that the final part of this was telling us that athletes can't wait. Their career is too short. We have maybe a long time to fix fair play and fix a fair outcome, but those who are competing, those who are young, they do not have time to wait for us to fix this. We need to have a review of the Russian situation to see what can we learn from it, how can we make sure that it never happens again. I think we all, despite discussions about independence and governance, we need to have a strong WADA. We need to have an independent part of WADA who take care of monitoring compliance based on the discussions about the CRC committee. We need to have a WADA who also include athletes. And mainly because athletes are dependent of their organizations. Athletes are dependent of a strong and independent WADA. We have also learned that an alternative way to fight doping might be to learn teams and athletes how to optimize their performance. I think I heard between the lines that it is not everyone who has a 100% proper way of optimizing their performance, their training, their recovery. So that might be an open information sharing, can be an important tool in fighting doping, so people can believe that they can win, they can be the best without. We have heard about the game of PR and spin. Hopefully, during this conference, we are able to spin our thinking, spin the discussion, and a critical and constructive debate. I think this room is chosen because it's a long way to the top. It makes it possible to have an open debate, and I think we need that. And I'm quite sure that we all will change slightly our positions during an open discussion. I would thank you all, the presenters, that you have taken part in the debate, and I thank you all participants for listening. And a thanks to Joseph Depensier from FairSport, who has assisted me with creating this outcome. I've known Joseph for a long time, and I just gave him the computer and asked to get it back before this presentation. And especially thanks to Jan Åge, who has facilitated this debate in an excellent way. He has kept the program together, and we thank our co-host, the World Forum for Business and Ethics, and FairSport. And since I am representing the local organizer, I will also use the opportunity to thank the team of Anti-Doping Norway, who has been the local host here and organized a number of practical details to make sure this has been an effective conference. And since the Prime Minister opened the conference, I think I can close it. Thank you very much.